Ben Affleck has been a staple in Hollywood for decades. When he and Jennifer Lopez first got together, the resulting media frenzy permanently changed the way tabloids behaved around celebrities. There's more media coverage of that relationship, dubbed Benifer, than there was of actual wars breaking out at the same time. Ben himself has basically always been a contentious figure, and everyone who cares about the lives of actors has something to say about Ben, whether good or bad. People hate him for his acting and hate him even more for his conduct off screen, especially on the heels of his dramatic divorce from Jennifer Garner and now getting back together with J-Lo. There are a few people out there who have legitimate reasons for their hesitancy to sing the praises of Ben. Now, this is in no particular order, but let's get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Ben Affleck. First and foremost, Hilarie Burton. Back in 2008, Hilarie Burton, an actress in Lethal Weapon, had been a co-host for MTV's Total Request Live. The show was a daily music video countdown that ran for 10 years. On the show, she would interview various celebrities and ask them their opinions on music and catch up with their lives and stuff. Very casual hangout style interviews. Anyways, in an incident that was caught on video, Ben behaved extremely inappropriately towards Hilarie. He grabbed her non-consensually and groped her. The video resurfaced in 2017 at the height of the Me Too movement, when one Twitter user posted, quote, "Affleck also grabbed Hilarie Burton's breasts on TRL once. Everyone forgot though." The tweet got enough attention that Hilarie herself saw it and replied, quote, "I didn't forget." In a later tweet, she recalled, quote, "I had to laugh back then so I wouldn't cry." She then thanked the user who posted the video and brought up the encounter. Quote, "Seriously, thank you for that. I was a kid." I guess she had felt that her situation with Ben was pretty much swept under the rug, which is pretty right, honestly. I had no idea about this story at all until 2017, and let's just say that Ben's apology left quite a bit to the imagination. He tweeted out, quote, "I acted inappropriately towards Miss Burton and I sincerely apologize." And that's it. I know when it comes to cases like this, people love to default to, oh, well, it was a long time ago. While I can see that just maybe being a proper excuse for certain situations, what is absolutely inexcusable is how one decides to address it. Ben's apology missed the mark, and when you do regret a situation, rectifying it is the only way to ethically right it. I'm not sure if anything went on behind closed doors between the two in the ways of an apology, but either way, as far as the public is concerned, not cool, Ben. Let's get into my second point, and what I would say is kind of a pivot from what the title of this video is: Ben as a person and the paparazzi. I mean, if we're being candid here, yeah, Ben has issues. That's obvious, anyone can see it. But honestly, all of these issues, while not excuses, can be explained by his very clear depression and deep mental health issues. A lot of people's grievances with him can be traced back to his dumb youth. He was cocky and full of attitude after coming off of the success of Good Will Hunting. When he began dating Jennifer Lopez, one of the biggest stars in the world at that time, the media frenzy that resulted completely violated their privacy. Suddenly, everyone was taking photos of the couple in intimate situations, and stalking was so heavily normalized that we still see the effects of lecherous paparazzi activities to this day. That all started from their relationship. If you couple that with a string of mediocre movies, people just started to hate Ben Affleck. There was a bit he did with a Quebecois interviewer where he was being overly flirtatious with her. They had agreed to do it to promote a show she was hosting. She even stated that it was all a hoax, but people chose to ignore it in favor of trying to find a valid reason to hate on him, besides him being kind of a mediocre actor with serious issues. The actor has been on a decades-long journey of trying to control his substance use issues. His own father battled alcohol and its presence in his life. In 1997, on the heels of rave reviews for Good Will Hunting, Ben decided to quit drinking for the first time. Quote, "I just wanted to stop. I started regretting some things I did when I was drunk." But sadly, it didn't end up working out for him, and Ben would soon revert to his old ways. He'd been in and out of rehab for years, including a stay in 2017 and in 2018. In fact, the 2018 stay was when Jennifer Garner, to whom he was divorced at the time, drove him to the hospital despite them being separated and Ben being with another woman. She's a good person who genuinely saw Ben as a tragic case of both parental pitfalls and environmental stress combining to create bad habits that inadvertently harm those around him. She staged an intervention with Ben, who would sadly suffer another relapse after a year of being sober. When speaking about his relapse, he stated, quote, "My family history. The legacy of that is quite powerful and something that's hard to shake. I think, in turn, a lot of celebrities understand the pressure of the spotlight. To genuinely hate Ben Affleck for reasons other than being kind of a mediocre actor is to vilify those living with addictions and depression. In interviews, he stated that he feels more concerned about what his kids see and how they perceive their own dad rather than what we see as an audience. Our voyeuristic tendencies to look in on his life shouldn't mean anything in the face of making sure that his kids remain happy and know that their father loves them. Quote, "I got to a place where the public perception was so different from who I am that I just stopped reading and stopped caring. But then, as my kids got older and started seeing the internet themselves, that's the difficult part. Even the sad Affleck meme, that was funny to me. I mean, there's nobody who hasn't felt that way in a junket. But when my kids see it and I think, oh, are they going to think that their dad is fundamentally sad or they have to worry about me? That's really rough. And I think, honestly, that's where our attention needs to lie. Ben shouldn't be vilified by people who don't really know who he is, and feeling depressed and anxious should not be seen as him being a bad person because he's not. When he was on the Howard Stern show, his words were once again manipulated to paint the actor in a bad light. Quote, "I had gone on and said how much we respect each other," in terms of him and Jennifer Garner, "and cared about each other, and cared about our kids, and put them first, and went through our stuff. And they said that I blamed my ex-wife for my alcoholism, and that I was trapped in this marriage. Just made me out to be the worst, most insensitive, stupid, awful guy. I don't believe that. It's the exact opposite of who I am and what I believe. And I would never want my kids to think I would ever say a bad word about their mom." Ben so obviously needs help, and Jennifer is still trying to get him that help. And I hope J-Lo is too. He very obviously cares about his family, and if his own ex-wife is still committed to helping him out of the trenches, I don't see why the internet has to butt its head in and make everything worse. The pressure of a divorce is enough to make normal, everyday folks turn to substance use. Couple that with intense media scrutiny and a penchant for mental health issues, and it becomes a recipe for self-destructive disaster. Ben is an extremely eloquent person who himself has spoken about the shame he feels towards causing his divorce. Quote, "I drank relatively normally for a long time. What happened was I started drinking more and more when my marriage was falling apart. This was in 2015, 2016. My drinking, of course, created more marital problems. I feel that there is a genuine fault in Ben for what he did with the interview host, and if you're going to continue to hate him, do so for that. He was in the wrong and his apology was less than adequate. But to reason your negative feelings towards the actor because of the direct influence that unhealthy coping mechanisms have brought onto his life is extremely unfair. Only with love and care will people with substance issues be able to dig themselves out of the hole they've created." Ben himself echoes this sentiment, quote, "It's not particularly healthy for me to obsess over the failures, the relapses, and beat myself up. I've certainly made mistakes. I've certainly done things that I regret. But you've got to pick yourself up, learn from it, learn some more, try to move forward." Celebrities shouldn't have to warn us about Ben Affleck. We know he's going through hard times, and self-destruction often comes at the cost of destroying relationships with others as well. Shame and anger towards someone who's already on their knees is never the right approach. So anyways, guess I got that video in basically the complete opposite direction of what the title is supposed to be, so let's see how that goes.
Will Smith is the name everyone is talking about following last weekend's Oscars. And we know they're not talking about his win for King Richard, rather his smack of Chris Rock that was heard around the world. Let's get into the celebrities who tried to warn us about Will Smith, but before we do, I wanted to shout out our sister channel, Where Are They Now? This channel covers tons of celebrities' lives and where they are now after a major downfall or after being out of the spotlight for a long time. We even have a video on Chris Rock if you want to know what happened to him after that slap. Make sure to check it out in the link below. So first up we got Chris Rock. Unless you are living under a rock, you know that Will Smith showed a completely different side of himself to the world at last night's Oscars. While comedian Chris Rock was speaking to the crowd and taking some digs at all the celebrities in the audience, Rock decided to take a jab at Jada Pinkett Smith, and I'm very sure he regrets it right now. Chris said, quote, "Jada, love you, G.I. Jane 2, can't wait to see it," referencing her almost bald head, because in the movie G.I. Jane, the lead actress Demi Moore has shaved her head. Jada has been open about her struggle with alopecia, and she was likely forced to wear her hair this way because she's not able to grow hair completely. Immediately after this joke, Will Smith decided to get up, interrupt the live broadcast, and slap Chris Rock right in the face for millions to see. Chris looked stunned and was not sure exactly how to respond. Will walked back to his seat, then yelled, quote, "Shut your mouth, keep my wife's name out of your effing mouth," twice. After the slap, Chris Rock looked completely stunned, having no idea what to do or say. It looked like he was about to clap back and say another harsh joke about Will or his family, but Rock took the high road and decided to stay calm. The internet was set ablaze by this slap, with many not even sure if it was real or just staged for publicity. But considering what we've seen in the aftermath, it was 100% real. Although many pointed out that Will actually laughed at the joke moments before deciding to get up and slap Chris Rock. Many fans of Smith's have tried to defend his actions, but the overall consensus is that it's never okay to put hands on someone or work out issues with violence, which I completely agree with. Also, we have no idea if Chris Rock even knew that Jada Pinkett Smith had alopecia. It could have just been a big misunderstanding. Next up, William Hendricks. After Will Smith slapped Chris Rock on stage, another one of his attacks was resurfaced, because this was not the first time that Will lost his temper and his nice guy persona was called into question. In 1989, Smith spent a night in jail after he hurt a man named William Hendricks so badly that Hendricks almost lost his sight. Smith even spent a night in jail because of this incident and has a mugshot because of it. I'm not sure exactly why it happened, but Hendricks was a producer who we can assume worked with Smith. Even more coincidental, this incident happened days after Will won his first Grammy. I guess he likes to get into altercations around award season. The charges were later dropped against Will. Will Smith was 20 years old at the time, and after getting in a verbal argument with his producer, he decided to make things physical. As per the police report, Smith asked his bodyguard, Charles Alston, to quote, attack William Hendricks, who needed 6 stitches after he fractured his left eye orbit during the altercation. Next up, August Alsina. After the smack heard around the world, old reports that Jada had cheated on Will in the past resurfaced. The pair have spoken about how they are in an open marriage, so we're not sure if it was really cheating or not, but Jada admitted she was in an entanglement with rapper August Alsina during a break with her husband. When Will and Jada talked about it on Red Table Talk, Will looked visibly distressed, and the general consensus is that Will wants a monogamous relationship, but Jada wants to be open and see other people. In 2020, August exposed the secret that he'd had a long-time affair with Jada while she was married to Smith. Initially, the Smiths denied this, but later admitted that it started when the pair split up briefly. Alsina had been introduced to Jada by her son Jaden at a London music festival in 2015. Insiders stated that August became like a member of their family, even going on vacations with them and staying in their mansion. August is 21 years younger than Jada, and he claimed that Smith actually gave his blessing to have an affair with his wife, an allegation that Jada then denied. Will also reported that he had affairs with other women during this time. At one point, he was rumored to have slept with co-star Margot Robbie. Many believe Will's insane reaction to the joke is proof that he is in a toxic relationship with his wife, because he completely embarrassed himself on most likely the biggest night of his life, all because of a bad joke. Many also claim that Will would have rather smacked August, but instead Chris Rock got the brunt of his anger. Vitali Sediuk. Little known fact is that this is not the first time that Will Smith has smacked a man in public at an award show event. Vitali Sediuk interviewed Will on a red carpet almost a decade ago, and after they had a negative interaction, Will smacked him in the face as well. While being interviewed, the pair hugged when Sediuk went to kiss Will on the cheek. Will Smith freaked out, then backhanded him on the face. Although many felt this move was justified at the time, it shows that Smith's first reaction in a negative situation is violence. The incident took place at the Moscow opening of Men in Black 3 in May of 2012 while Sediuk was working for a Ukrainian television station. After the incident with Chris Rock, Sediuk stated, quote, I just immediately recollected the slapping incident in Moscow. I think the joke was inappropriate when it comes to someone's health, but Will's reaction is unnecessary and sends the wrong message to comedians being hit for a joke. Adding, quote, I don't want to call Will Smith uncontrollable. He has a violent temper, yes, but I'm sure he realizes what he's doing. The reporter acknowledged that it was a bad joke, and he understands that Will was protecting his family. However, it shows that violence is always Will's first instinct. Scientology. After the Chris Rock incident, some started connecting the dots between the bizarre slap and Scientology. This is because the Smiths have been tied to Scientology in the past, and physical punishment is a popular teaching in the church. Apparently, it's a common teaching in Scientology to use slaps and other forms of physical force to show other Scientologists that they've done something wrong. After the slap, one user tweeted, quote, there's a Scientology course, I guess you'd call it, that involves slapping / physically humiliating fellow Scientologists in a group setting as a means of exerting superiority. It's remarkably common within the cult. The user even shared that Tom Cruise is known to use similar styles of punishment, but instead of hitting, he uses shouting to intimidate movie crews. This makes a ton of sense after what we saw happen on the set of one of Cruise's movies when he felt the COVID protocols were not taken seriously by his staff. Leaked audio heard him screaming at the top of his lungs at his staff, clearly sending a strong message. The Smiths have spent many years battling off accusations that they are involved in Scientology. The couple was apparently introduced to the church in 2004 by Tom Cruise, and they got so involved recall that the Smith family spent almost $1 million in 2008 to set up a school for the church. The Smiths said they designed the curriculum for the school, but insiders claimed it was based on Scientology. Both Jaden and Willow attended, but the school closed 6 years later when most of the parents removed their children. Tony Ortega, an expert on Scientology, said that the Smiths left Scientology in 2015 and that Will at least only ever dabbled in it. And finally, Will Smith himself. Will exposed himself in his 2021 memoir, where he revealed his struggles with anger in the past and how he had thought about taking someone's life in the past. In this memoir, he revealed dark secrets from his past, like that his father used to hit his mother, and when he was younger he was ashamed that he never stepped in to stop him. Apparently many years later, his father had cancer and was declining rapidly. He was in a wheelchair at the time and was not able to care for himself, so Will thought about taking his father's life to avenge all the horrible things that he did to his mother. Thankfully, Will did not go through with it and took the high road with his father. Will seemed to reference this in his Oscar speech, where he said that a higher power called on him, quote, to love people and to protect people and to be a river to my people.
Are you a believer? I think that's what fans of Justin Bieber call themselves. Whether you are or aren't, today we'll be looking at some celebrities that aren't too fond of him and have exposed him. From Seth Rogen to Bon Jovi, even Ronda Rousey. Let's talk about this and more only in today's video. Starting off this countdown, we have Seth Rogen. Seth Rogen went after Bieber, a fellow Canadian, during an interview with Howard Stern. He said, and I quote, "Bieber is a good example of someone who you meet and you think you're gonna hate him, and then you get to hate him as much as you thought." Yikes, what did Bieber do to him? Well, apparently the two first met at a German talk show when Justin asked if they could meet. They did, but then apparently Justin acted like Seth was the one that wanted to meet him. He said, "It was very weird." He said, and I quote, "What the F? I don't want to meet you. Don't act all nonplussed to meet me. I didn't want to meet you. I was totally cool not meeting you, but I was like, fine. I wouldn't have said anything. I was like, he's a bit of a mother effer. Whatever. He's young. The kid's a dick." That's right, folks. Seth Rogen called Justin Bieber a dick. In our 9th spot, we have Kate Moss. In 2014, Bieber and Orlando Bloom got in a heated argument at a nightclub. I'll talk about that more in depth later, but it resulted in the two taking swings at each other. Well, a few days later, after the incident, Justin Bieber approached Kate Moss, and she was not too thrilled about it. She apparently went off at him, telling him that he needs to behave and smarten up. Apparently, Justin had gone up to her expecting her to gush all over him, and instead, she really just gave it to him, which is pretty embarrassing if you ask me. Coming in at number 8, we have Marg Helgenberger. Back from 2010 to 2011, Justin Bieber made an appearance on the show CSI, playing serial killer Jason McCann. Well, according to CSI actress Marg Helgenberger, Justin Bieber acted like a brat on set. Not only that, but according to her, he locked one of the producers in a closet and also just put his fist through a cake that was on the table. Imagine that, just wanting a slice of cake and then Justin Bieber just goes BAM! Coming in at number 7, we have Team USA and Team Canada. Imagine having two Olympic hockey teams against you. That's wild. In 2014, the two teams squared off for the Olympic hockey semifinals, during which there was a billboard present that said, "Loser keeps Bieber." Now, some of you may know Bieber was born and raised in Canada, but currently lives in America. Imagine having a whole hockey team trying to get rid of you, just like not wanting to claim you. That's the definition of awkward. In our 6th spot, we have Ronda Rousey. It's so random how all these celebrities just hate Justin Bieber. Like, out of all people to piss off, a UFC star? I don't know. Basically, Rousey admitted to Cosmopolitan that he was rude to her little sister at the Cannes Film Festival. Apparently, she tried to get him to take a pic with her little sister, who was a huge fan and totally starstruck, and he declined, saying, and I quote, "I've already taken a billion pictures today, okay?" Imagine how that little girl must have felt. Like, there's her idol, and he just shuts her down because he took too many photos. Ronda later said, "Yeah, I don't think I'd want to hang out with him. I'm not a believer. I was, but not anymore." We're now at our 5th and halfway mark with Jon Bon Jovi. Jon Bon Jovi had a lot to say about Bieber when he heard that he showed up 80 minutes late to his show in London. He said, and I quote, "Every generation has guys that do that. None of that is new. Do it once, you can be forgiven. Do it enough times and shame on you. They won't have you back." back. Then it becomes a cliche. It's really not cool. You're an a-hole. Go to effing work. So Bon Jovi did not hold back on that one. But someone had to say it. Bieber definitely let his fame get to his head at one point, and that led to him acting all entitled. In our fourth spot today, we have Selena Gomez. Of course, she had to be on this list. The two were in an on and off again relationship for quite some time, and fans left them together. In fact, many people thought that they were endgame, but as we later found out, their relationship was not the healthiest. After their final breakup in 2018, Selena Gomez revealed that the relationship consisted of emotional abuse, and he had really hurt her, and it took her a while to grow out of the victim mentality. Moving on to number 3, we have Orlando Bloom. Alright, this is probably the one that you all have been waiting for. Orlando Bloom and Justin Bieber definitely do not like each other. Maybe things have changed with time, but for quite a while, they did not like each other. It all started when rumors began to fly about Bieber getting close to Bloom's ex-wife, Miranda Kerr. Some even said that the two hooked up. Then Bieber's ex, Selena Gomez, was spotted with Orlando Bloom, and apparently the two made out. When Bieber and Bloom encountered each other, apparently Bieber made some comments about Miranda Kerr, which Bloom did not like, and at that point he jumped over a sofa and lunged at Bieber. Then apparently punches were thrown, but they were never landed. And then apparently Leonardo DiCaprio was just present and witnessed this whole fight and was cheering for Bloom. Like, that's just wild. Coming in at number 2, we have Eminem. Eminem decided to show his disdain for Bieber by including him in his song, A Kiss. He talks about God not giving a damn about Justin Bieber. That's the he's referring to in the song. So the lyrics go, he's allergic to divas, he'd take meat cleavers to him. He don't give a damn about Bieber doing. What a demon, a behemoth, evil just seems to be seething through him. Okay, Eminem, okay. And in our number 1 spot today, we have Bill Hader. I honestly can't imagine this guy having drama with anyone. But alas, Justin hosted Saturday Night Live one time, and Bill had a lot to say about it. Apparently, Bieber showed up with a 20-person team to set. He said, and I quote, he had a guy holding a piece of pizza, a guy holding a Diet Coke, and going around stage, you're trying to fight through all these people to get dressed. A year later, in another interview, he said, and I quote, I really didn't enjoy having Justin Bieber around. He's the only one who lived up to the reputation. I think that's the only time I felt that way in 8 years. That is insane.